Beruchim Abayim and welcome to Torah Talks Chazaq's Tuesday night program with special guests tonight. We have with us Rabbi Heshy Kleinman. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi. How are you doing?
Baruch Hashem. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. Chaz Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. It's an honor, a privilege to have you on the program. We really appreciate the Rabbi's time. And tonight we're going to be speaking about Praying with Fire, which is a book that the Rabbi Baruch Hashem has published. And before we begin, we have a custom, Hagen Torah Talks. The Rabbi, if you just give our audience a little bit more of a background about yourself for those that might not know.
Well, okay. I'm a local boy, as they say. Born in Brooklyn, grew up in Brooklyn, still residing in Brooklyn. I learned in the Mir Yeshiva for high school and for post-high school in the Beis HaMedrash. And from there, I used to learn with a chavrusa in the morning. This goes back many years later. And we both wanted to, let's just say, inspire people to connect with their tefillah. And after having spoken to some gedolim in America and some local rabbonim, it turned out that for one reason or another, they at the time said they were unable to be able to rally people to be able to be inspired. So I had to take on the responsibility, hoping that we'll have some siyata d'shmaya, and the Praying with Fire, which was the first book that I wrote, would have an impact. And Baruch Hashem, with the help of my editors and Art Scroll, and as I always tell people, if nobody would pick up the book and read it, I would wind up reading it to myself. So with their help, when an individual wants to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that in and of itself is 50% of the battle. So all the credit goes to Klal Yisrael, that they're always looking, always willing. The she'ifa, the desire to grow and to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always there. Sometimes we just have to kind of, dig a little to rouse it up. But all the credit goes to them. And after that, other books came, and Baruch Hashem, and we have tefillah programs running in schools of things that we've created. So Baruch Hashem.
Amazing Rabbi Heshy Kleinman. Amazing, very, very inspiring. So as was mentioned, the topic is praying with fire. And when it comes to praying, when it comes to davening, we're saying the same tefillah for Shemona Yisrael and the prayers in general 3 times a day, many of us, the men especially. And sometimes it could be like, a robotic experience where you just say the same thing and you don't have kavanah, you don't have concentration, and you're just going with the flow. You go to shul, you do your thing, you go out. How does one change that, Rabbi Kleinman?
Okay, so first, I think it's important to point out the fact that it is something that's difficult, and it is difficult for everyone. I mean, the line starts here. Every day, it's another nisayon, it's another battle, and it's something that we can overcome that battle. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the neshama tahorahi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to us to be able to connect with Him through the holy words of tefillah. The Bir Halacha in Siman Kuf Aleph says that the tefillah that we say every day was written by the Anshe Knesset Hagdola. These are the people the years ago from the Great Assembly, and they wrote it. The words of the Bir Halacha they wrote it B'soidos Nizgavos V'Olamos. Mighty, powerful, deep hidden secrets. Could you imagine if we have in our hands something where they say, Lahavdil, Lahavdil? This is something you can make millions upon millions of dollars. You can ensure that you will have health. You will be able to be certain with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's promise that He will bestow blessings upon you. Your children will be married. They will remain on the derech. They'll be wonderful, upstanding Jewish souls going through their life. They will be involved in unbelievable pursuits of tremendous spiritual treasures. And we have that in our hands. All we need to do is to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, if we would visualize that, and perhaps before that step, if we would feel it in our heart, could you imagine what a person would say? This is remarkable. What? You know what? Give me another round. Give me another dose. I want those words. Quick caveat. The Anshe Knesset Hagdola wrote the tefillahs for our benefit. When the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and Klal Yisrael went into Golus, they kind of lost their way. It was a very difficult time. Imagine you're living in this big, beautiful palace, and then all of a sudden, burned down. It's difficult. To find your way, to find where am I, who am I, where am I going, where am I heading. It leads to bilbul hadas. A person does not have the menuchas nefesh. It's difficult. Anshe Knesset Hagdola did us a tremendous favor. They said, you know what we'll do? We're going to convene a meeting. And this is, again, the Lashon of the Bi'aloch Sim Kuf Aleph. Of 120, the Anshe Knesset Hagdola, the men of the Great Assembly. And they said, let's pick the winning words. Lahabdil, lahabdil, the winning words. That's like, the other day, I heard that somebody told me, the lottery was up to like, I don't know, $960 million. And I'm thinking to myself, what are the winning numbers? These are the winning words. And they wrote it with nevuah, which means when they wrote it, they saw our today's situations and struggles and issues. Wow. Unbelievable. And we have discussed 3 times. Wow, that's remarkable.
Rabbi Kleinman, powerful words. I feel the fire from the screens, but it's 100% true. And we sometimes need chizuk. We need inspiration on the topic. So of praying with fire. So maybe the rabbi could give us some practical tips of how one could do it. Yes, those words are 100% powerful.
Okay.
The men of the Great Assembly wrote those words. They had nevuah, they had prophecy. Yes, Rabbi. Okay,
so theory is great. Inspiring words are wonderful.
Yes.
But what the root, the shoresh of ruchnius is? It's ruach. When the wind blows, you feel it. And when it stops blowing, you don't even know that the wind was blowing.
Wow.
So what happens when the inspiration kind of like
dwindles down?
Now what do? I'm alone with my Sidur, and it's me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now what do? So I'd like to suggest, first of all, in the book Praying with Fire, you'll find a whole bunch of strategies, because whenever I write something or anything that we create, there are 2 aspects. There's the machshava, the theory, and then there's the lamaisa. Because we are living in the Olam Asiya. We're not in Olam Bria, we're not in Olam Yetzirah, we're not in Olam Atzila. We're down here. The mitzvahs is something we do. And therefore, tefillah is also something we need to do. And once we're doing it, let's try to do it, maximize the best possible way to do it. So here we go. Suggestion number 1. And I'm going to try to make it as practical as I possibly can. Also, this does not run the gamut. There are additional strategies, tips.
We encourage everyone to get the book. Once again, Praying with Fire.
Yeah. Okay, here's the first one. Visualize Dalipne mi ata omed. In other words, right now, I see you. Baruch Hashem. Gewaldig. And you're looking good. Baruch Hashem. Okay?
Rabbi,
so you inspire me to start to think. My mind is percolating. The embers are starting to, the flame, you light my match. And therefore it's easy. But what happens when I'm standing alone? So number 1, the Macabre and the Chofetz Chaim, the Mishabrura, it's based on the Gemara in Brachos. Da lipnei miata omei. Da, what does da mean? Daladayim. It's not just intellectual knowledge. When we talk about, for example, emunah, we don't mean the intellectual emunah. We mean emunah chushis. If I may take a moment and make reference to an unbelievable stipler in Birchas Peretz Pashas Noach. Rashi in Pashas Noach said Noach was Miktane Amonah. Maimin v'yeina maimin. What does Miktane Amonah mean? Yeah, he come on. He was a believer. Es Elokim es halech Noach. God and Noach, in effect, going together. Wonderful. So what do you mean he's Miktane Amonah? What do you mean? Miktane means he's not such a believer, from the little believers. So Rashi said, Maimin v'yeina maimin. What does that mean? What? He's on the fence. He's not sure. What? One moment, yes. What? Says the stipler. You know what it means? There are two types of emunah. There's emunah sichlius, an intellectual, philosophical. Let's see. So, for example, if I told you pick something up, if I told you, you know what? Okay, before you pick it up, I think that is very, very hot. You know what? You're not going to pick it up. But if somebody else comes along and says, it's not really so hot, you can do it. Then you'll say, something? Maybe the first one who told me it was so hot, it's really not so. You're going to start to hedge back and forth. That is emunah sechlius. But what happens if I tell you that's hot and you pick it up? You know how we teach our children and grandchildren when they were young? When they picked it up, they went, oh. And somebody comes along and said, it's not so hot. You know what? You ain't picking it up. That's chushis. The emunah chushis is no comparison to emunah sechlis. Emunah chushis is so much stronger, so much more convincing, so much more powerful. V'yadata hayoim v'ashevoy se'elav avecho. The lave, the chushim, the emotions, the feeling, the hagosha trumps seichel any day of the week. So therefore, dalif ne miyata omeid. It's not just this philosophical idea. Yeah, of course, the Abish created the world. Baruch Hashem, we are maimin b'nei ma'aminim. It's more than that. I feel it in my bones. It's something I've experienced. It's something I know to be true because I'm living it. I am living with Hashem. It's something with all my fiber, my being, kol atzmoitz of toimarno. That is the most powerful level of emunah that a person can strive to reach. And when we say daluk nemeata omeg, that's what we need to begin to try to feel. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens in a moment. So how does it happen? So the answer is, I'll use a word that we say in the tefillah. Zeicha, it's a pasuk, part of a pasuk. Zeicha osel nifla oisov. What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the niflaos, the miracles, and it should be for us, says Rabbi Avigdor Miller, a zeicher. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the nisim, he could have done it in the regular tevadik way. Paro would have said, "Come on, leave, get out of my country. Come on, guys, you got to get out of here." Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make the nisim? And let me ask an even stronger question. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu always wants to minimize miracles. Isn't that the whole idea of Hesed upon him? God hides behind that curtain. And you know why he does that? People say, well, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to be connected with him, so come on, show me the goods. You know why? Because then we wouldn't have schar, we wouldn't get reward. Everything is so blatant. We see the Eibush in front of us, of course. So the Eibishter hides, so we can get tremendous schar. But sometimes, from time to time, zeicha osel nifla oisav. When you have something, a wonder, and it could be something wonderful. Baruch Hashem, Mazel Tov. She's engaged. Wow, what a great deal. Wow, you know how much I made? Oh, that was great news. Mazel Tov. Was it a boy or was it a girl? Talking about the baby now. When you hear great news, when you experience something unique, zeicha osel nifla oisa. It's got to be a zeicha. Build and build each individual situation during a person's life are there for us to utilize as stepping stones to go from one step to the other step. You know which of the others represents the ladder going up? That's the Bechir Sheba Avos Yaakov Avinu. Sulam Mutzav Ortza. The ladder is standing. Veroisha Magia Shemaime. Hey, Roisha, you want to hit the stars? You want to grow and connect Mashamayma? Go up one step at a time. Use every situation. I know the Teva stuff, it's hidden. I can't. Where do I don't see the Eibishter. Time out. Stop. What about the good stuff that hits you right in the heart? Then you say, Gavaldik. And even the difficult moments, if they're slightly out of the ordinary, that is a moment to recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu's yad. You want to hear a Meirus of Rabbi Yonis in Eibsitz?
Of course.
Okay, here we go. David HaMelech has a son. One of his sons is Avshalom. Now, you know, Avshalom, let's just say, David HaMelech and Avshalom didn't really always see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't get along.
So picture this. Says the Gemara, Avshalom is riding on his horse, and his long hair gets stuck in the trees, and he dies. Avshalom, the son that wants to kill David HaMelech, his father. Says the Gemara in Brachos. From that, David HaMelech, Mizma LeDavid b'varcha b'bnei Avshalom b'noi. Frank the Gemara, Mizma, he's sending a song. Pina mivoyale, he should have said a lamentation, a dirge. Can you imagine? Your son is trying to kill you. Says the Gemara, no. David HaMelech makes the following cheshbon. If it would have been an Eved or a Mamzer, no, then that's bad news. My son is coming to kill me. Mizma. Fragaich, I'm asking you. Come on. Yeah, what's worse, premeditated murder by your son? Or some evidence, some mamzer who happens to kill you because the guy's a bum? So what's the mizmor? Zok Rabbi Yonis and Eibsitz Gavaldik. David HaMelech Cheshbon was as follows. If the one chasing me, trying to kill me, would have been an Eved or a Mamzer, you know, that happened. Look, the guy's an Eved, the guy's a Mamzer. Come on. Guy like that. So I don't see the Yad Hashem. It's part of nature. That's just the way it works. They're built that way. But a son is not built that way. When you see something unusual, even if it's a terrible thing, never. But when you see Yad Hashem, this is what we mean. When you experience the chushis, and you can see clearly this is so unusual, so out of the ordinary, so mind-boggling. This is not, it's got to be, only God can perpetuate something like this. Think of COVID, never. Who can create a situation on something you can't even see? And the whole world is affected. Education, business, yeshivas, shuls, countries, people, airlines, offices. Everything. I go on and on. I only got 10 fingers. You know what I mean? And let me take it a step further. That's why it was something we could not see. Because the Abel still wants us to feel. You see, you can't see me. This goes back to Dalep Nemiata Oime. You can't see me, but you couldn't see COVID, and everything was turned on its head. The Abish, the Zeicha, Asal, and Nifla, Oizav, he can do anything. But remember it, internalize it, feel it, live it, experience it. And with that, the Dalip Nemiata Imid will be different. Don't try to do too much. Yaakov Avinu went up one step at a time. And let me add to that. If you really want to go high, the harder you push down, the higher you go. You started to say Shemona Esrei and you forgot you had a Yerida. Don't worry. Don't sweat it. It's a step down to make you go higher, the next tefillah. Because the harder you push down, the higher you go on the rebound. So when you start davening, Dalep Ne'miat To'imed, which is Rabbi Chaim's great Yisoid and one of the Kavonas in tefillah, visualize it, feel it. Da means certainty, have clarity. They once did a survey of 25,000 managers, and they said the number one element to ensure their success is if they have clarity. You want to succeed? Have clarity. Be clear. You know what happens when we're not clear, when we're confused? It's like this pirud, our mind is this way, but we really don't believe it. So it's half-hearted. So practical step is Dalep Nemiata Umed. Use the daily situations in your life that are a little bit out of the ordinary to grow and internalize that you are living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Can I give you another practical idea?
Please, Rabbi. That was powerful. Dalep Nemiata.
Okay. I'll be so practical. Ready?
We love it.
When I sit down to a meal, and the way my wife, she's a mean cook, that's a compliment. Okay, mean cook is a compliment. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, Ms. Stummer, we've all been there, and we've all done that. I shouldn't say for everyone, but I have. I have to assess, there's so much good food, Baruch Hashem. I've got to pick the one food that, you know what I'm saying? Do the same thing when it comes to tefillah. You're not going to be able to conquer everything all at once.
Wow.
Pick a bracha, pick a word, pick a phrase. Yoducha Hashem kol, whatever it is. Zeicha asel ipna oizav. Okay? Vivare kol bos Hashem kotshai. Whatever it is. La Yashem hayeshua alamcha v'chosecha. Pick something that speaks to you and make that your first encounter with really getting a hold and connecting with your tefillah. You know who says that idea? The Rambam. The Rambam says it when it comes to mitzvahs. The Mishnah tells us that we have so many mitzvahs. People say, oh, so many mitzvahs. You know what that is? So many opportunities for gold. Can you imagine? I'm going there, and you know what? I'll give you an example. The Gemara at the end of Masechet Ksuvah says, I'll give you a mitzvah of chesed. Olam chesed yiboneh. You want to hear what a mitzvah of chesed is? Watch. When you see the white of your teeth, Rabbi, you can do that too. That's chesed. And somebody smiled. It's a Gemara. Can you imagine the ultimate mitzvah? Olam chesed. The whole world is for the chesed, and you
smile.
Oh, mamish. So that's why we have so many mitzvahs. Pick a mitzvah that speaks to you. It's the Rambam. And make that your mitzvah. Pick a word, a phrase, a pasuk, a part, a bracha of tefillah, and make that yours. And when you become connected to that, then pick another. And then pick another. If we would have the same discussion 3 to 5 years from now, I bet you everyone in your audience will say, man, I'm so glad I started that 3 years ago. What a great idea.
That's
I've got 98%, I've got 74%, I've got 60, whatever the percentage is. I guarantee you, you will feel so connected to your tefillah. You want another idea?
yeah, please.
Here
Rabbi
we
Kleinman.
go.
So many
Here we
gems.
go.
We love it.
Okay. Our words are very powerful. Bris krusa imas vasayim. The Eibishter made a bond, a bris, a covenant. Krusa, he engraved with the lips. You know why? Because our lips represent the koyach of machshava, and machshava represents the neshama. For all those men that put on tefillin, and the tefillah before you put on tefillin, I won't tell you where, but it's there. Shana Shabbat Sheba Maiki. Oops, I told you where it was. Mm-hmm. So when we speak, that's the difference between mankind and animal. This is the koyach neshama. You don't have to wait for the tefillah in the morning, shacharis, or in the afternoon, mincha, at night, ma'ariv. Speak Takadosh Baruch Hu anytime you feel you want to speak with them. Guess what? The Eibishter is listening.
That's right.
And he wants to hear from us. And not only that, you know what? This Bir Halacha that I mentioned, you know what he said at the end of that Bir Halacha? That if a person can say with kavanah, with a loshon laz, his own language, go for it. Not only that, the Mishabura, Kuf Yud Ches, where is it? Sipkot and Chabdalit, I believe, from memory. Or was it Kuf Chabdalit Yud Ches? I don't even, one of the two. I don't remember. I apologize. He says that in the Shmoneh Esrei itself, add your own personal tefillahs in your own language. So wait. Don't you want to say a tefillah at the end of every single Shmoneh Esrei for your wife, for your husband, for your children, for your grandchildren, for the... No, every single one. You know how I know my grandchildren's names? Only because I got to remember them at the end of every Shmoneh Esrei. Don't tell my kids I said that.
What if they're watching?
I hope they're not watching. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Or maybe I hope that they are. I'm not sure, but you understand what I'm saying. Well, it's an opportune time. Say a tefillah. The tefillahs that you say, even, you see someone and you say Mazel Tov, Zaygozut, that's a bracha.
Right.
It's powerful. It's powerful. Take advantage of the opportunity. You want a person wants to get used to connecting. Say the tefillah during the day. Say the bracha, give a bracha to someone. Be well, sei gesund, sei stark, refuah shalema, be matzliach. Say, talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Say brachas, say tefillahs. Ask the Eibishter, please. One of the major tefillahs for me in my day is, Eibishter, I need a parking spot. I live in Brooklyn. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And guess what? It works. Mamash Nisim.
True, definitely.
But you understand my point.
Yes, powerful point.
My point, okay.
Every opportunity we have to talk to God Almighty, Hashem is listening to us. We could pray anytime. It doesn't have to be specifically by Shachrit, Mincha, or...
That will get our mindset focused on the Eibishter is listening.
Powerful, amazing. Rabbi Heshy Kleinman, so many powerful gems that we've been hearing so far. And I wish this could go on forever, but unfortunately, we're not able to. We have a minhag, a custom by Torah Talks, which is a final message about praying with fire, Rabbi.
Okay.
And I feel the fire, by the way. Sure.
Two things. First of all, there is a website, Va'ani Tefillah, VANI TEFILLAH.org, which we created, that has something called Praying with Passion. Praying with Passion is 177 lessons in color, which has a story and a halacha and a yesod and delving into the meaning of the words in color. Something called Visualize, the whole gamut. It'll take you 5 minutes. It's the shachar is divided into 177 lessons.
Wow.
That is number one. It's there for adults. We have stuff over there for children. That's how schools, if your kid, Baruch Hashem, over the last 10, 11 years, we've had over 130,000 students in England and in France and in Belgium and in America that have taken advantage of our material, which happens to be the children's material is free. Free. So please, okay, let me leave you with this.
Sure.
People come over to me and they say, 1 second, you mean to tell me HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to listen to my tefillah? You know what I've done? I ain't going to tell you, they tell me, but the Eibishter knows. So I want to leave you with the word from Rav Tzadok HaKohen in Sitkus HaTzadik Ois Kuf Nun Dalet. I'm giving you the site because it's worth it to check it out. Says Rav Tzadok, Kashem shetzarech lahamin ba'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just like a person needs to believe in God, I think the biggest Yetzer Hara of our generation is, hey, I'm not a tzaddik. Sure, the Baba and the Zayda, sure, my Rebbe, the Rosh Hashiva, the Rabbi, my mentor, my older this, my older that. Me, who am I? Well, I never learned in yeshiva. I didn't learn enough. I didn't learn the right things. I learned the wrong thing. Let me tell you, the Yetzer Hara, he wrote the book and he's still writing it as we speak. More books to convince us that we are not worthy. Remember the words of Rav Tzadok HaKohen. And listen the way he said it with this analogy. Of course, you got to believe in the Eibishter. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to excel, to connect, to have that chush, that feeling, to internalize? Well, guess what? I have an neshama, you have an neshama, the rabbi's got a neshama, we all have a neshama. And my neshama, your neshama, his neshama is all tahirahi. I don't know, I checked the Siddur this morning, it says the same thing that your Siddur said. And if I wouldn't have picked up that Siddur this morning, somebody else would have. And they would have said that their neshama is tahirahi. You think there's on the sign where the Sidurim are is, if you've done 4 Averas, do not pick up here. It doesn't say that. We are all Tahor. We are all Kadosh. We are all meant to connect. And that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu thought so much of each and every one of us that he gave us life. He continues, Hamachadvesh B'tuvoi B'chol Yoim Tomid Maseh V'Reishis. This moment is so valuable, so meaningful that the Eibishter allows us to have life. So utilize that life, that koyach of the neshama to connect. The Eibishter is 24/7. He's waiting now on the line. He can multitask. He can hear me and you and everybody else in that schus with that emunah and with that connection and with the koyach hatfilah, which be'edah Hashem will bring the geula. It should bring the individual geula for each person to know that he is tahira, he's kadosh, and to utilize, take advantage of the myriad opportunities to connect in the personal tefillahs, in the tefillahs at the Yachek Neses Hagdoila, in everything that you see in the Bria. Each moment of your life is a potential stepping stone to connect with the Bari Olam, who wants to hear from us, who loves us, and who created us to get closer to him every moment of the day.
Rabbi Heshy Kleinman, Shlita, what a powerful Torah talk we just had. What chizuk, what inspiration. Chazaq work to you. Continue Michal Chai from strength to strength. And wow, that's all I have to say. Praying with fire. I feel the fire. I feel the passion. I feel the energy. And we want to thank all the platforms of hosting this amazing Chazaq Torah Talks podcast. We want to remind everyone every single Tuesday night, Chazaq Torah Talks with special guests at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chazaq.org/live. Shout out to all the platforms, Torah Anytime and dailygiving.org. Dollar a day goes very far away. And to Robbie and Nathan and Rahman and Izzy and Mayor and everyone over here at the Chazaq operations and headquarters.
One last thing.
Please, Rabbi Kleinman.
When I see the name Chazaq, what you wanted me to do, you guys do every single day, every single week. And I think it's for everyone to internalize that idea, to know that without you guys, we ain't going anywhere. And therefore, everybody should try to connect with what Chazaq does to help by listening, by any resources that they can, because what you folks do is truly remarkable.
Rabbi Heshy
Thank
Kleinman,
you for being there for us.
Thank you, everyone. And till next time, Mitzvah Shem.